Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Curcio and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. Today I'm using a celebration stamp set that's only going to be available for a limited time, so you're going to want to make sure you get your hands on it. In the celebration catalog, here on page 16, you're going to find this adorable stamp set. Here's why I like it. It's something for the guys. Those are the hardest cards for me to make because I like feminine girly things and sparkly things. But I came up with a really cute card you're going to want to try because check out this fold and this peekaboo window. I'm calling it the lower gate fold, of course with a peekaboo window. It's a lot easier than it looks, and it's using a ton of new products that I know you're going to want to get your hands on. So remember that you can shop in my online store, and I offer great exclusive rewards for your orders. How about a free project PDF tutorial for any size order you place? And I offer frequent buyer points. And don't forget, during celebration, if you spend $50, you can get any additional free product from this catalog. Yes, I said free, for every $50 you spend between January 5th and March 31st. Come on, let's get over to the stamp table and let's get started. Now you can get a good look at how this lower gatefold card works. I've created an opening in here to line up with my jet stream, and I'm going to show you how easy this is to put together. We're going to use the paper trimmer, and I've cut a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock. This measures 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to start by scoring it in half at 5 1/2 inches. So I'm going to fold that just so that we have a point of reference. What we're going to measure 2 inches on the cutter here at the top. Remember, the light blade is for scoring and the dark blade is for cutting. So I'm going to move my dark blade up, and I'm going to cut off 2 inches only to the crease. The great thing about this is you're going to be able to see the crease right through the clear guide here. And then I'm going to lift it, and I'm actually going to turn this, and I'm going to line up the crease of my card right here in this cutting track. And I'm going to cut off the top half of this card by sliding it right up the track and stopping right where I see the card connects. And see what happens? We've cut off the top 2 inches. Now, if you're not comfortable with using this on your paper trimmer, you can go ahead and do this with scissors. That's fine as well. You know, I love to use my bone folder, so I'm going to give that a nice crisp crease so that we've got a starting point. Now, before the video, I've gone ahead and I've cut some pieces of designer series paper. Remember, all these dimensions are going to be on my blog, which is listed here on the screen, so don't feel like you've got to write them all down. The piece of very vanilla cardstock is 1 1/2 by 5 1/4. Then I'm using designer series paper from the new stack called Going Places. I am having a ball with this because there are some really, really fun things. It coordinates with the Going Global stamp set as well as the Celebration stamp set, which is called Sky is the Limit. Love this because we finally got something great for guys. So we're going to be using that for this card today. One designer series piece is measured 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and the other is measured 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. I am actually going to adhere the bottom piece of designer series paper here on the bottom before we make the circle. So I'm going to put a little snail adhesive on the back, and that's going to be centered here on the front of our card. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 1-inch circle punch, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make a hole in the front of this panel. So now I've got that window that my jet stream is going to be showing through. This piece of designer series paper is going to go here at the top of my card. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back, and I'm going to adhere that near the very top, leaving a small border. This is the piece of designer series paper that's going to go here at the bottom. Now, don't worry about this. If it bothers you, you're going to notice on my original, I used a piece of basic gray cardstock, and I just created a seam there. What I'm going to recommend that you do next is you just visually line this up where this is going to go, as if you were going to adhere it so that you have placement. I took a pencil and I very lightly made some lines and where the circle is, just so I would have an idea of where to stamp the jet stream. I don't know if you can see that or not. I used Lost Lagoon ink, which is coordinating to the cardstock and the Jetstream image, and I inked it up. And I've turned it a little bit because I want to make sure that it's going in the right direction. So I just lined this up and stamped my Jetstream right in the middle of that circle. Before I adhere it, I'm going to go ahead and use my pencil eraser, and I'm just going to erase those pencil marks. I put them on really light, so it's going to be really easy to remove them, and they're not even going to be noticeable. Placing some adhesive on the back. That now is going to get centered here near the bottom. Now, before you go crazy sticking the whole thing down, check it. Make sure it's going to work. Yep, it's going to work. So I'm going to stick that right here. Now, remember, we talked about this little space. If that bothers you, you're going to cut yourself a 1/4 inch width piece of basic grade cardstock. This is by 5 1/4. I'm pulling out my silicone craft mat. And you may have watched me use this last week. Adhesive will not stick to this. This is like the best product. Love this. So I'm going to add a little bit of snail adhesive down the track of this. And you know it's very narrow, and it's narrower than my adhesive is. But it won't stick to this surface. That'll leave my work surface nice and clean, and it won't be sticky. So I am going to attach that here in between those two areas just to help fill in the gap a little bit. Now let's go ahead and get the front decorated. I used a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and I'm taking the airplane image with basic gray ink. I'm loving this old airplane. I'm inking him up, and I'm stamping him here on very vanilla cardstock. We're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. It's okay, I promise. It doesn't take that long. I'm going to cut this down so it's easier for me to manage, and I'm going to give you a few cutting tips. Believe it or not, this is a question I get a lot. How do you cut so fast? Well, don't forget, this is what I do. Like, I couldn't do what you do. So you want to leave a little bit of white around your image. You don't want to cut on the color line. And you literally just want to follow the silhouette. I think the biggest mistake people make is they want to go into every nick and cranny, and that's really not required. You're going to see I didn't go all the way in, and I'm leaving a little bit of vanilla cardstock around the silhouette. So here's our plane, but I thought he needed a little help in the propeller area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pierce mat in my piercing tool, and I'm going to put a hole right here in the middle where the propeller is going to be. And I'm leaving that piercing tool there for a reason. It's tiny. I don't want to lose my spot. Mini silver brads. I'm going to take one of those out. And that's going to go right inside that hole that I created. And I'm going to lift. And then I'm going to open up the prongs to the back of the card. Okay, it's just turning them so that they won't show. Next thing is some dimensionals. So if this is spinning and that's bothering you, that's exactly where I'm going to stick a dimensional. I'm going to stick it right there, and I'm going to anchor down that little brad so it won't move. And then I'm going to take the paper backing off. And then I am going to put my plane here. So I kind of want to make sure that the tail of my plane is going to be somewhere near that Jetstream, right? So that's going to go here. Next is the greeting. And I did find, because of the pattern background, that the basic black ink showed up a little bit better. So I'm using the verbiage from the same stamp set. This says the sky is the limit. This would be a great graduation card, be a great retirement card, be just a great anything. Great even for Valentine's Day. So I'm stamping that right here near the top. Now, one last thing. I think I've told you this before. My new favorite product is the Wink of Stella. 2 reasons why I love it. Easy to use, dries really quick, and you know what? You can give some shimmer to a card without making it look all feminine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a wink, and I'm going to put it inside my heart. We're going to zoom in a little bit so maybe you can see this just a little bit better. So I'm filling in the wink here, and I'm actually putting it around the propellers here to kind of symbolize some movement there, some motion. And there we go. And again, it's going to dry really, really, really quick. It's so pretty. So there you have our finished card. That was really a lot easier than it looks, isn't it? Today's card, my original card. Remember, head over to my online store and order there. I offer a free project PDF tutorial for any size purchase, as well as frequent buyer points towards free product. I also offer lots of other tutorials as well as studio stamps in the mail, so make sure you go check those out. I'm so glad you joined me today, and I'll see you next time.